Welcome back, everyone. We are diving deep today into a book that, well, it looks like a simple fable on the surface, doesn't it? But underneath, it carries this incredibly sharp edge of history.
It really does. It's presented as a fairy tale, Bir Peri Masalu, as the subtitle says.
Right.
But that gentle title, it's immediately contrasted with what the story actually is. It's got this really quite horrible ending, and it's like Orwell forged a two-edged satirical spear.
A spear aimed right at political oppression.
Mhm.
And that paradox, that contrast, that's really the core of its power, I think.
Absolutely. It's Orwell signaling right away. This isn't just for kids. Pay attention.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to really trace how that initial revolutionary dream, that promise, turned into such a nightmare of control. And to do that, we really have to look at the author himself, Eric Arthur Blair, or as we know him, George Orwell.
Yes, Orwell's own life experiences are absolutely key here. His perspective was, you could say, forged in fire and, frankly, disillusionment. Born in India in 1903.
And his early career, that's significant too, isn't it? Serving in the Indian Imperial Police in Burma, Myanmar, now from 1922 to 1927.
Exactly. And it was something he came to deeply regret. He felt enormous shame about being part of that colonial system, enforcing what he saw as injustice.
You can see that directly in his writing, can't you? In Burma Days, or that really powerful essay, A Hanging. It's like he spent years processing that guilt.
He did. And it pushed him away from his background, away from imperialism. He moved towards anarchism initially. And then, by the 1930s, he'd really solidified his commitment to socialism.
So the political ideas were forming, but let's say, the emotional core, the real fire behind Animal Farm, that came later, right, from Spain.
Absolutely. The Spanish Civil War, that was the crucible. Orwell went there to fight with the Republican militias, believing in the cause. But what he found wasn't socialist unity. Not at all.
And this is so crucial for understanding Animal Farm, isn't it? He saw firsthand how other leftists, people who weren't following the strict Stalinist line, his own comrades, they were betrayed.
Systematically betrayed, purged, attacked, crushed by the Soviet-backed communists who were supposed to be allies. It was a brutal lesson.
He wrote about it in Homage to Catalonia, didn't he?
Yes, a phenomenal book. And that experience, it taught him that tyranny wasn't exclusive to fascism. Totalitarian control, even wrapped in revolutionary language, was just as dangerous. That's where his intense personal hatred of Stalinism really came from. And Animal Farm basically uses that Soviet dissent as its historical map.
The timing of the book's publication, 1945, is also pretty striking.
Oh, incredibly so. Right as World War II ends, that uneasy alliance between the West and the Soviet Union is just starting to crack. The Cold War is looming.
Which meant the book was almost immediately picked up and used in a certain way, didn't it?
Yes, it got weaponized very quickly. Especially in the U.S., it became the standard piece of anti-communist propaganda, required reading in schools, often presented in a very narrow way.
And that often misses Orwell's broader point, right? Because he wasn't just attacking Stalinism. He was critical of the systems the animals were rebelling against, too.
Exactly. The human neighbors aren't exactly heroes. You've got Bay Pilkington, a fox. He represents Britain, the sort of old, neglectful, aristocratic capitalism. And then Bay Frederick of Pinchfield, standing in for Nazi Germany, tough, shrewd, always looking for an angle, litigious. They're both flawed, dangerous figures in their own right. The farm is surrounded by different kinds of threat.
So it's not a simple case of communism bad, capitalism good. It's more complex.
Much more complex. The genius is that it works as this specific critique of the Soviet Union's path and as this timeless warning about how power corrupts, wherever you find it.
Okay, so let's really unpack that. Let's trace those steps. We need to look at the critical moments chapter by chapter that show how this dream of equality just degraded.
Yeah.
What were those turning points that led from utopia to a dictatorship even worse than Jones?
Well, it all starts with the vision, doesn't it? With the spark.
Coca Race, Old Major.
Right. And the setting is crucial. Manor Farm, or Balik Shiflik, run down, neglected by the farmer, Bay Jones, who's always drunk.
Old Major isn't just any pig, though. He's respected, a prize winner, 12 years old. He has this authority.
He does, and he gathers the animals for this incredibly powerful speech. He lays out the core doctrine. Life as it is misery and slavery, full stop.
And the solution he gives is so simple, almost deceptively so.
It is. Man is the sole enemy. That's the heart of it. Man consumes, he takes, but he doesn't produce anything himself. Get rid of man, Old Major says, and you get rid of the root cause of hunger and overwork. It's potent because it simplifies everything down to one clear target.
And he makes it personal, terrifyingly personal. It's not just abstract theory.
No, not at all. He warns them about their own futures under Jones. Boxer, the strong, loyal horse. He'll be sold to the knacker, the Kasabi, when his strength gives out.
Awful.
The dogs, ground when they get old and toothless. No animal, he says, escapes the cruel knife. It's an existential threat. Revolution isn't a choice. It's necessary for survival.
That urgency, that fear, it leads directly to the first principles of laws for the New World.
Exactly. The core rule. Never resemble man. No living in houses, sleeping in beds, wearing clothes, drinking alcohol, smoking tobacco, touching money, engaging in trade.
Or tyrannizing over other animals, and the ultimate principle.
All animals are equal. That's the foundation stone.
And then comes the song, Beasts of England.
Yes. Ingiltrainen Hybenlara. He teaches them this forgotten anthem, and the reaction is just electric. They pick it up instantly, singing it with this incredible passion.
5 times, the text says. Just pure, unbridled enthusiasm.
5 times. You can almost hear it, can't you? This explosion of hope. Until Bay Jones, startled awake, fires his rifle into the barn wall. A final, useless gesture of human control against this tide of revolutionary feeling.
That song becomes a symbol of everything they hope for. But old Major, he doesn't live to see it happen.
No, he dies just 3 nights later. The vision is there, the dream is alive, but the practical task of organizing, of making it real, falls to the pigs. They're considered the cleverest animals.
And we meet the key players right away, the ones who will shape the future. First, Napoleon.
Napoleon, the future tyrant, a big, fierce-looking Berkshire boar. He's quiet, doesn't say much, but he's known for getting his own way. His power isn't really in speeches, it's in force, in presence.
Then there's Snowball, more the intellectual, the orator.
Yes, Snowball's lively, more inventive, a much better speaker. But the text notes he has less depth of character, less solidity than Napoleon. He represents the ideas, the theory, maybe the purer form of the revolution.
And the third crucial pig, Squealer.
It's a squealer, or Tumbalak, plump, nimble, with shifty eyes, and a brilliant talker. The description is chilling. He could turn black into white. He's the propaganda minister in waiting.
So these 3 take old Major's ideas and turn them into a complete system. Animalism.
That's right, they codify the philosophy.
But even as they're doing this, you see the cracks appearing almost immediately.
You do. The first sign of trouble comes from Molly, the pretty white mare. She's completely self-absorbed.
Her first question is about sugar cubes, isn't it? Kesmu sugar. Will there still be sugar after the revolution?
Exactly. And can she wear her ribbons? Snowball tells her they're badges of slavery, but she loves them. She represents that element of society that just wants comfort, vanity, the little luxuries, regardless of the bigger picture.
And there's another challenge to the pig's ideology early on with Moses the raven.
Yes, Moses, the tame raven, Jones's pet. He flies around telling tales of Sugar Candy Mountain, Balbadem Diaria, this supposed animal heaven up in the sky.
A place where it's Sunday 7 days a week.
Right. The pigs argue against it, saying it's nonsense. But interestingly, they don't kick him out. They let him stay, even give him a bit of food. It's almost useful to have him around, perhaps.
Yep.
A distraction.
Keeps the animals looking up instead of around them.
Possibly. But the pigs do secure their main base of support, Boxer and Clover, the 2 cart horses.
They aren't the brightest, the text says. They find it hard to think for themselves.
But they are incredibly loyal. They absorb everything the pigs teach them, unquestioningly. Their strength and their dedication make them the revolution's most faithful followers, and tragically, the most easily exploited.
So the stage is set. The ideas are there, the leaders are emerging, the potential problems are already visible.
Precisely. And then the revolution itself happens. And it's not some carefully planned event.
No, it's completely spontaneous, isn't it? Kicks off because Jones gets drunk again.
Right. He goes to the Red Lion pub in Willington, stays out all night, comes back on Midsummer's Eve, a Saturday, and just forgets to feed the animals.
And they're starving. They can't stand it anymore.
They break into the store shed to get food. Jones and his men come out with whips, try to drive them back, and the animals just snap.
They turn on the humans, attack them.
Hooves, horns, teeth. The humans are terrified, overwhelmed. Jones, his workers, even Mrs. Jones, she manages to grab a bag and slip away. They're all driven off the farm, just like that. It happens in minutes.
That speed must have felt incredible to the animals, like final, absolute victory.
Oh, undoubtedly. A sense of euphoria, and they immediately start destroying the symbols of their oppression.
The bits, the nose rings, the chains, the cruel knives.
Whips, reins, halters, everything goes into a bonfire. Boxer even throws his straw hat on the fire, the one he wore in summer, to keep flies off. A symbol of his own servitude, gone.
And Manor Farm gets its new name, Animal Farm. Hyven Schiftlisi.
A new beginning. And Snowball, because he's the best writer, takes a brush.
And paints the 7 commandments on the barn wall. The laws of the new society.
Yeti Emir. But even here, right at the founding moment, there are little flaws. The source material notes he misspells a word, writes tossed instead of dost for friend, and gets an S backwards.
Small things maybe, but symbolic, hinting that the foundation isn't quite perfect.
Perhaps. And it also mentions that most animals can't read them anyway, beyond the pigs and maybe Benjamin the donkey, so the law is immediately something interpreted for them.
Those early days, though, they must have been amazing for the animals. The first harvest.
Incredible success. They get it done 2 days faster than Jones and his men ever did. Everyone works according to their capacity. And Boxer is the standout.
He adopts his first motto then, doesn't he? I will work harder. Daha shakcha shakam.
Yes. He throws himself into it completely. The animals really believe in their collective power. It feels like the dream is real.
But then, the milk.
Ah, yes, the milk from the cows. After the milking, Napoleon tells them to get on with the harvest. He'll deal with the milk. When they come back, it's gone.
And then the windfall apples. Same story.
They disappear, and it becomes clear very quickly that the pigs are taking them. This is the first real betrayal of the all animals are equal principle. Consuming without producing, just like old Major warned about man.
And this is where Squealer steps up.
Yeah.
His first major job as propagandist.
His first masterpiece of spin. He doesn't deny they took the milk and apples. He justifies it. He explains with lots of, pseudo-scientific jargon.
That pigs need them for their health. Because they're the brain workers.
Düşün emek sizi.
Exactly. It's essential for their well-being, so they can manage the farm effectively. It's a sacrifice, really, that they're making by eating these delicious things. And then he deploys the ultimate weapon, the one that shuts down all argument.
The clincher. Surely, comrades, he says, you do not want Jones back.
And that's it. Game over. The fear of returning to the old misery is so strong, it silences any questioning, any dissent.
It's brilliant in a horrifying way. It teaches the animals that questioning the pig's privileges means risking the return of Jones. Authority becomes unchallengeable.
So the internal hierarchy is already starting to solidify. But what about the outside world? How do the humans react?
Well, news spreads. Pigeons fly out, carrying the story of the rebellion and teaching beasts of England to animals on other farms.
And the neighboring farmers, Pilkington and Frederick, they're worried, presumably.
Very worried. As we mentioned, they hate each other, but they're united in their fear of Animal Farm. They start spreading ridiculous rumors, cannibalism, torture, all sorts of wild stories, trying to stop their own animals getting ideas.
But fear eventually turns into action. Jones tries to take back the farm.
Yes, the Battle of the Cowshed. Au Savashu. Jones comes back with some of his men and men from Foxwood and Pinchfield. This actually validates the pigs' warnings about external threats, ironically.
But the animals are ready for them. Snowball has a plan.
He does. He's been studying an old book of Julius Caesar's campaigns he found in the farmhouse. He organizes the defense brilliantly.
There are different waves of attack, aren't there? Pigeons and geese first.
Then a bigger skirmish, followed by Snowball signaling a retreat, a fake retreat. The humans rush in, thinking they've won.
And walk right into an ambush. The horses, cows, pigs waiting in the cowshed.
Exactly. It's a complete rout. The humans are driven off again, decisively this time. It's a huge victory for the animals.
When heroes are made, Snowball gets wounded slightly.
Yes, grazed by pellets from Jones's gun. He and Boxer are immediately decorated. They create the first military honor. Animal Hero First Class, Brinchi Juresid Karman Heaven.
Boxer gets it too, for his strength in the fight.
Yes. Snowball and Boxer, heroes of the revolution. And they set up Jones's gun at the foot of the flagpole to be fired twice a year on the anniversary of the rebellion and the anniversary of the Battle of the Cowshed.
So this period, chapters 3 and 4, this feels like the high point, doesn't it? Unity, success, the dream seems alive and defended.
It absolutely is. The revolution feels secure both internally and externally. But the cracks are there, and the next phase sees them widen dramatically.
Chapter 5. Things start to turn darker here. It begins with Molly again, doesn't it?
Yes, Molly. She's caught letting one of Pilkington's men stroke her nose over the hedge. She'd hidden sugar and ribbons in her stall. She clearly hasn't bought into the revolution at all.
And then she disappears.
Vanishes. Later, the pigeons report seeing her pulling a cart for a pub owner in Willingdon, looking quite happy, actually, wearing a red ribbon. She chose comfort and servitude over struggle and freedom. And crucially, her name is never mentioned again on the farm. Erased.
Her departure removes one kind of internal conflict, but clears the way for a much bigger one between Napoleon and Snowball.
The big one. The ideological showdown. And it crystallizes around the windmill.
Snowball's big project. His vision for the future.
Exactly. He has these detailed plans for a windmill that will generate electricity. It'll light the stalls, warm them in winter, power machinery, cutting the working week down to just 3 days. It's the technological utopia Old Major hinted at.
But Napoleon opposes it fiercely.
He argues it's a distraction. They need to focus on increasing food production now. Forget the fancy schemes, he says. He even apparently urinates on Snowball's plans to show his contempt.
So the animals are forced to take sides. Practicality versus the dream.
Pretty much. It divides the farm. And it comes to a head at one of the Sunday meetings. Snowball gives this passionate, brilliant speech arguing for the windmill. He's winning the animals over. You can feel the momentum shifting.
And Napoleon sees he's losing the debate, so he resorts to something else.
Force. He lets out this terrifying high-pitched whimper, a sound no one had heard him make before. And suddenly, 9 enormous dogs wearing brass-studded collars burst into the barn.
The puppies. The ones Napoleon took away to educate in secret.
The very same. Now fully grown and savage, they go straight for Snowball. He just manages to escape, bolts out of the barn with the dogs snapping at his heels, slips through a hedge, and is gone. Never seen on Animal Farm again.
Just like that. Political opposition isn't defeated, it's violently expelled, a coup d'etat.
Absolutely. And the consolidation of power is immediate. Napoleon gets up, announces that the Sunday meetings, toplanta, are abolished. They're unnecessary, a waste of time, he says. From now on, a special committee of pigs, presided over by himself, will make all the decisions.
The end of any semblance of democracy.
Completely. And Squealer immediately goes to work smoothing things over, managing the narrative.
How does he possibly justify this?
He frames it as a sacrifice, Osvary, on Napoleon's part, taking on all this extra responsibility, protecting the other animals from making wrong decisions, like supporting Snowball. Loyalty, he says, is more important than bravery. Obedience is key.
And the windmill. What about the windmill? The whole reason for the conflict.
Well, here's the masterstroke of propaganda. Squealer announces that Napoleon was never really opposed to the windmill. In fact, it was his idea all along. Snowball just stole the plans from him.
What? That's a complete reversal. How do the animals react?
They're confused naturally, but Squealer just brushes off their doubts. He talks about tactics, comrades, tactics. He implies it was all a clever maneuver to get rid of the dangerous Snowball. It's pure gaslighting. He makes them doubt their own memories, their own understanding.
And Boxer, what's his reaction?
Tragically predictable. He thinks about it, struggles with it, but can't find an answer. So he falls back on loyalty. He adopts his second motto. Napoleon is always right. Napoleon, her Zaman Hakladur. Blind faith replaces critical thought.
Wow. And to solidify this new era, they even bring back Old Major's skull.
Yes, they dig it up, clean it, and mount it on a stump by the flagpole. The animals are required to file past it respectfully before meetings. It's co-opting the memory of the original revolution to serve the new dictatorship.
So the windmill project goes ahead, but now it's Napoleon's project.
Yes. And it's incredibly hard work. The animals labor like slaves. Boxer is key again, working even harder, starting 45 minutes earlier than anyone else. They struggle to break the stone in the quarry. The 3-day week seems a very, very long way off.
And then comes another broken rule, a big one. Trade with humans.
Napoleon announces they need certain materials: paraffin oil, nails, string, dog biscuits, iron for horseshoes, machinery for the windmill that they can't produce themselves. So they will have to engage in trade with the neighboring farms.
But wasn't that one of Old Major's original fundamental warnings? Never touch money, never trade.
Absolutely, a core principle. But Napoleon declares they'll use a human intermediary, a solicitor named Mr. Whymper. to handle the business. So the animals themselves won't technically have contact with humans.
A loophole.
A loophole. And again, Squealer is sent out to quell any unease. He assures the animals that no resolution against trade or using money was ever passed or even suggested.
He just denies it ever happened.
Flat out denies it. Says it must be a lie spread by Snowball, a figment of their imagination. And because nothing was ever written down except the commandments, which don't explicitly forbid trade, the animals eventually accept it. Their memory is faulty. The pigs must be right.
The erosion just continues, doesn't it? Step by step. The pigs move into the farmhouse next.
Yes, they start sleeping in the beds. This causes another murmur. Clover feels sure one of the commandments forbids sleeping in beds.
She asks Muriel, the goat who can read a bit, to check the barn wall.
And Muriel reads out the fourth commandment. No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets.
It's been altered?
Subtly altered. Squealer arrives to explain. A bed is just a place to sleep, he argues, like a pile of straw. The rule was against sheets, a human invention. And besides, the pigs need comfortable beds because of all their brain work.
And the final threat.
Surely none of you wishes to see Jones back. Always the fallback, always effective.
Then disaster strikes the windmill.
A terrible storm hits in November. A gale rips across the farm, and in the morning, they find the windmill nearly finished is in ruins, completely destroyed.
Devastating. All that work, wasted. How does Napoleon react?
He inspects the ruins, sniffs the ground, pauses dramatically, and then declares, without hesitation, Snowball did this.
Snowball, the scapegoat again.
The perfect invisible enemy. Napoleon claims Snowball crept onto the farm under cover of darkness and destroyed their work out of spite. He pronounces the death sentence on Snowball, offers a reward, animal hero second class, and a half bushel of apples to any animal who brings him to justice.
So instead of facing the possibility that maybe their design was flawed or the storm was just too strong, it's blamed entirely on sabotage.
Entirely. It galvanizes the animals, redirects their anger and despair, and Napoleon declares they will rebuild immediately, all through the winter, no matter the cost. And this time, the walls will be twice as thick, 90 centimeters. A tacit admission, perhaps, that the first design was flawed, but framed as defiance against the traitor.
That winter sounds brutal. Chapter 7.
It is. Starvation looms. The harvest wasn't great, and building the windmill consumes everything. The potatoes they stored get frozen and spoil. Rations are cut drastically.
But Napoleon can't let the outside world know they're failing.
No, the image must be maintained. He uses Mr. Whymper, the solicitor, very cleverly. When Whymper visits, Napoleon arranges for the empty grain bins in the store shed to be filled nearly to the top with sand.
And then just covered with a thin layer of grain and meal on top.
Exactly. So Whymper goes back reporting that there's no food shortage on Animal Farm. It's all about managing perception. Propaganda for the outside world.
This desperation forces another terrible decision, doesn't it, regarding the hens?
Yes. To get money for grain, Napoleon signs a contract to sell 400 eggs a week. This is a direct violation of the spirit, if not the letter, of Old Major's principles selling the animal's own potential offspring.
And the hens, they resist. This is a real moment of rebellion.
It is. Led by 3 young black Minorca pullets, they protest furiously. They fly up to the rafters and lay their eggs there so they smash on the floor. It's genuine defiance.
How does Napoleon handle it?
Utter ruthlessness. He orders the hens' rations to be stopped completely. Anyone giving them even a single grain of corn will be punished by death. He starves them into submission.
How long does it last?
5 days. Then the hens give in. But 9 hens die in the process. Their deaths are publicly announced as being caused by coccidiosis bloody diarrhea, a complete cover-up of state-enforced starvation.
This feels like a turning point. The first time the regime deliberately kills its own subjects for disobedience.
It's a dark threshold crossed.
Yeah.
And it sets the stage for what comes next. The Great Purge.
The terror really ramps up now. Snowball is blamed for everything that goes wrong.
Everything. He's apparently sneaking onto the farm at night, milking the cows in their sleep, stealing corn, breaking windows, clogging drains. He becomes this invisible, omnipotent demon. Squealer announces they've discovered evidence of his plotting.
And Napoleon calls a meeting, demands confessions.
The atmosphere must have been terrifying. The dogs are growling. Napoleon demands that any animal guilty of collaborating with Snowball step forward. And then they do.
The 4 young pigs. The ones who protested when Napoleon abolished the meetings.
Yes. They confess that they've been secretly in touch with Snowball ever since his expulsion, that they collaborated with him to destroy the windmill and plan to help Frederick's men take over the farm. And as soon as they confess,
The dogs tear out their throats right there in front of everyone.
instant execution. And it doesn't stop there. 3 hens, the leaders of the egg revolt, confess Snowball incited them. A goose confesses to hiding grain. 2 sheep confess to murdering a ram, supposedly on Snowball's orders. Another confesses to urinating in the drinking pool.
All these minor crimes.
Yeah.
And they're all executed too.
Yes. Dragged forward and slaughtered by the dogs. The pile of corpses grows. The air is heavy with the smell of blood, something unseen since Jones was driven out. It's a public spectacle of terror designed to crush any possible dissent.
How does Boxer react to this horror?
He's deeply shaken. He says, I would not have believed that such things could happen on our farm, but he can't comprehend that Napoleon is responsible. His conclusion, it must be due to some fault in themselves. His solution, I will work harder. He even decides to get up a full hour earlier in the mornings now.
His loyalty is just unbreakable, even in the face of this.
It's his tragedy. His inability to see the truth makes him the perfect subject.
And of course, the law has to be adjusted to fit the crime. Clover checks the commandments again.
Yes, the 6th commandment, no animal shall kill any other animal. She asks Muriel to read it, and it now says, no animal shall kill any other animal without cause. Sebepsis here.
Convenient, so the pigs decide the cause, presumably.
Exactly. The purge was justified. The law bends to the will of the rulers.
The history books get rewritten too, don't they? Especially about the Battle of the Cowshed.
Oh, completely revised. Squealer starts spreading the story that Snowball was actually Jones's secret agent from the very beginning, that his bravery in the battle was faked.
Even Boxer questions that, doesn't he? He remembers Snowball fighting bravely.
He does. He says, I do not believe that Snowball was a traitor at the beginning, but Squealer is relentless. He says Napoleon, the leader, as he's now called, has discovered secret documents proving it. He paints this incredibly vivid, dramatic, but totally false picture of the battle.
Claiming Napoleon was the real hero, that he charged forward, bit Jones's leg.
Yes, a complete fabrication. But Squealer delivers it with such conviction, such detail, and with the dogs growling beside him that Boxer eventually gives in. If Comrade Napoleon says it, it must be right.
The past is whatever the party says it is.
Precisely. And Napoleon's cult of personality grows even more intense. He gets all these ridiculous titles. Father of all animals, terror of mankind, protector of the sheepfold, duckling's friend.
The pig poet, Minimus, even writes a sycophantic poem, Comrade Napoleon,
which is inscribed on the barn wall opposite the commandments with a portrait of Napoleon above it. It's elevating the leader to the level of, or even above, the founding principles.
This whole period is just dripping with fear and lies, and it leads up to another major conflict, doesn't it? The timber deal.
Yes, the pile of timber that was cut years ago. Napoleon needs to sell it. He plays Pilkington and Frederick off against each other for months. Relations with Pilkington seem good. The slogan, death to Frederick, is common. Then suddenly...
he decides to sell it to Frederick, the enemy.
Exactly. Denounces Pilkington, changes the slogan to death to Pilkington. Frederick offers a slightly higher price, but Napoleon insists on being paid in cash, 5-pound notes, not a check. Thinks it's safer.
Which turns out to be a terrible mistake.
A disaster. 3 days after Frederick's wagons haul the timber away, Whymper comes rushing back. The banknotes. They're forgeries. Sat. Utterly worthless. Frederick got the timber for nothing.
He double-crossed Napoleon completely.
Completely. Napoleon is furious, pronounces the death sentence on Frederick to be boiled alive, and realizes they now face the attack they provoked.
The Battle of the Windmill. Der Mini Savashu.
Frederick and his men attack, this time with guns. 15 men. The animals defend bravely, but the humans have firearms. They drive the animals back, and Frederick's men go straight for the windmill.
They brought tools to destroy it.
A crowbar and a sledgehammer. They drill a hole, pack it with blasting powder, and the windmill, the symbol of 2 years of back-breaking labor, is blown up. Havaya Ustu. Just gone.
Utter devastation.
The animals are enraged. They charge recklessly, ignoring the bullets. It's a savage fight with heavy casualties on both sides. A cow, 3 sheep, 2 geese are killed. Nearly everyone is wounded. Boxer gets badly hurt, pellets in his leg.
But they do manage to drive the humans off eventually.
Yes, Frederick's men are beaten back, but the windmill is gone. Yet Squealer, amidst the exhaustion and bloodshed, starts firing the gun in celebration.
Celebration?
A great victory, he declares. They've driven the enemy off the sacred soil of Animal Farm. Boxer, bleeding and exhausted, asks, What victory? He points out the windmill is destroyed.
How does Squealer respond?
What matter? We will build another windmill. We will build 6 windmills if we feel like it. You do not appreciate, comrade, the mighty thing that we have done. The enemy was in occupation of this very ground that we stand upon. And now, thanks to the leadership of Comrade Napoleon, we have won every inch of it back again.
Pure spin, redefining defeat as victory. And they renamed the battle too.
Yes, the Battle of the Windmill. A hollow triumph.
And that night, something else happened. A small, telling incident.
A crash in the middle of the night. The animals rush out and find Squealer sprawled on the ground at the end of the barn where the commandments are written. Beside him, a broken ladder, a lantern, a paintbrush, and an overturned pot of white paint.
He fell while altering a commandment.
That's the clear implication, though only Benjamin the donkey seems to understand fully. The dogs quickly escort Squealer away. A few days later, Muriel notices the 5th commandment reads differently. It used to be, no animal shall drink alcohol. Now it says,
No animal shall drink alcohol to excess. A shri ishi is my check.
exactly. And shortly after, the pigs discover a case of whiskey in the farmhouse cellar and loud singing is heard late at night. They even start talking about growing barley to brew beer. The law changed just in time to excuse their indulgence.
It's just relentless, the corruption. Which brings us to the final heartbreaking stages. Chapter 9. And Boxer.
Boxer's fate. It's the emotional core of the book's tragedy, I think. He's getting old, 12 years old now, which is past the supposed retirement age for horses. His coat isn't as shiny, his strength isn't quite what it was, but he refuses to slow down.
He just wants to see the new windmill finish before he retires. That's his only ambition left.
He works harder than ever, pushing himself relentlessly, and then one evening, while dragging stone to the windmill, he collapses. He can't get up.
His lung, he says. Sigillerum dianmade.
Yes, he's clearly seriously injured. The pigs express great concern. Napoleon announces he's making arrangements for Boxer to be treated at the veterinary hospital in Willingdon, supposedly the best care available.
The other animals are uneasy about him leaving the farm, going into human hands.
They are. But Squealer assures them the vet in Willingdon can do more for Boxer than they can on the farm. A van arrives a few days later to take him away.
And this is where Benjamin, the donkey, finally intervenes. The cynical, silent Benjamin.
For the first time, Benjamin breaks his rule of not getting involved. He comes galloping towards the animals, braying, frantic. He sees the van Boxer is being loaded into, and he can read.
What does he read on the side of the van?
Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer, and glue boiler Willingdon. Dealer in hides and bone meal, kennel supplied.
Oh no, the knacker's van.
The knackers. They're not sending him to a hospital, they're selling him to be slaughtered. The animals scream, they try to warn Boxer.
Does Boxer realize? Can he get out?
He hears them. He tries to kick his way out. You hear faint drumming sounds from inside the van as he kicks desperately against the sides. But he's too weak. The van drives away, taking Boxer to his death.
Exactly what old Major warned would happen under Jones. Now happening under Napoleon.
Precisely. The ultimate betrayal of the most loyal worker.
And Squealer's explanation for this. It must be his most outrageous lie yet.
It is. He comes back a couple of days later looking very sad, even wiping away a tear. He claims he was with Boxer at the very end in Willingdon. That Boxer died peacefully in the hospital, praising Napoleon. His last words, Squealer claims, were, "Napoleon is always right."
How does he explain the writing on the van?
He dismisses it completely. It says the van used to belong to the knacker, but it was bought by the veterinary surgeon who just hadn't had time to paint over the old name yet. A ridiculous, flimsy excuse.
Oh, but the animals believe him, or they pretend to.
They seem to. They're relieved by his account. Maybe they need to believe it. And the final, sickening detail. A few days later, the pigs somehow acquire enough money to buy another case of whiskey.
The price of Boxer's life.
Bought them a drinking party. It's the absolute nadir.
And then the story jumps forward, chapter 10. Many years pass.
Yes. Most of the animals who remembered the rebellion are dead. Jones is dead. The farm is more prosperous, bigger first. They bought 2 fields from Pilkington. The windmill is finally finished and working.
But not for electricity like Snowball planned.
No. It's used for milling corn, which is highly profitable. They're planning to install a threshing machine, too. The farm is richer, but the animals' lives haven't improved, except for the pigs and the dogs.
Napoleon preaches a new doctrine now, doesn't he? About happiness.
Yes, he gives speeches saying the true happiness lies in working hard and living frugally. He dismisses Snowball's old dreams of electric light, heating, stalls with running water as contrary to the spirit of animalism. The aim is to work hard and live simply. Perpetual toil.
The pig's privilege becomes even more blatant.
Oh, completely. They get fatter. New rules appear. Other animals must stand aside if they meet a pig on the path. All pigs can wear green ribbons on their tails on Sundays. Rations for the workers keep getting reduced while the pigs live in luxury.
And then comes the ultimate transformation, the moment that shatters everything.
Squealer takes the sheep away for a week, teaching them something new. Then one evening, the animals are heading back from the fields, and they stop dead. They see something unbelievable.
A pig walking on its hind legs.
Squealer first, then other pigs, and finally Napoleon himself, upright, carrying a whip in his trotter, majestic, surveying his domain.
The final taboo broken. They have become man.
Completely. And just as the animals are about to protest, the sheep, on cue, burst into a massive bleating.
4 legs good, 2 legs better, 4 legs good, 2 legs better. They've replaced the original slogan, brainwashed into chanting the opposite.
The core philosophy, inverted. Language utterly corrupted to serve power. And when Clover gets Benjamin to read the barn wall one last time, the 7 commandments are gone.
Replaced by just one.
One single commandment. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The final, cynical summation of the entire revolution's trajectory.
The pigs start wearing clothes too, taken from Jones's wardrobe.
Napoleon in a black coat, riding breeches, leather gaiters, his favorite sow in Mrs. Jones's Sunday dress. They subscribe to human newspapers, use the telephone, smoke pipes. The transformation is total.
Which leads to that terrifying final scene, the dinner party.
Yes. A delegation of neighboring farmers, including Pilkington, comes to tour the farm. That evening, the pigs host them for dinner in the farmhouse. 6 farmers, 6 senior pigs.
And the animals creep up to the window to watch. What do they see?
They see the pigs and humans laughing, drinking, playing cards together. They overhear Pilkington making a toast. He congratulates Napoleon on the discipline and orderliness of the farm. He says he and the other farmers intend to introduce some of Napoleon's methods on their own farms.
Especially the low rations and long working hours for the lower animal.
Exactly. Pilkington notes that the animals on Animal Farm do more work and receive less food than any animals in the county. He toasts the prosperity of Animal Farm.
And Napoleon makes a speech too, announcing more changes.
Yes. He assures the humans that the period of misunderstanding is over. He abolishes the revolutionary customs, calling each other comrade, marching past old Major's skull, which he's had buried. The white hoof and horn are removed from the green flag, and the final change.
He renames the farm, back to what it was before.
Back to Manor Farm, Belik Shiflik. He says this is its correct and original name. The revolution is officially declared dead, erased by the leader himself.
And then the card game, the final chilling image.
A quarrel breaks out, shouting. Napoleon and Pilkington have apparently both played an ace of spades simultaneously. Someone is cheating. And as the animals look from pig to man, and from man to pig again,
They can't tell the difference.
it was impossible to say which was which. The faces of the oppressors, new and old, have merged into one.
Wow, what an ending. So let's think about the takeaway for you listening to this. What's the core message here?
Well, it raises a really important question, doesn't it? The tragedy is complex. It's about the loss of memory, how easily history can be rewritten by those in power. And it's about language, how words, simple slogans like 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, can be twisted. Dirt ayak iki ayak kotu, and corrupted to mean the opposite to justify anything.
And the fate of Boxer. That feels central.
Absolutely. The most loyal, dedicated worker literally sold for booze money. It's Orwell's final, brutal statement on the value placed on the individual, the common worker, within a totalitarian system. They are utterly disposable once their utility ends.
And here's a final thought to leave you with, drawing on what Settle Ooster pointed out in the source material. That final scene, with the pigs and humans indistinguishable. Orwell seems to be saying that the leaders of both kinds of regimes, the revolutionary one that became corrupt and the old capitalist one, they ultimately shared the same vices: greed, power hunger, exploitation.
It dissolves the simple Cold War dichotomy, doesn't it? If the ultimate test is whether the oppressed can even tell their leaders apart from the enemy, well, what does that say about power structures, maybe even today? How easily can leadership, regardless of its stated ideology, come to resemble the very thing it supposedly replaced?
It's a profoundly unsettling question, a real cautionary tale.
But maybe there's a sliver of hope. The memory of beasts of England, the original dream, it's suppressed, forbidden, but the text says it still exists secretly. The ideal of equality is hard to kill completely, even under terror.
Thank you so much for joining us on this, well, quite intense deep dive into Animal Farm. It's a book that certainly doesn't leave you comfortable.
No, it's meant to provoke.
If you want to continue exploring Orwell's world and his warnings about power and control, perhaps let us know which direction you'd like to go next. Should our next deep dive tackle his even darker vision in 1984, or should we maybe explore the roots of his anti-imperialist views in Burma days? Let us know your thoughts.
Until then, keep thinking critically, and maybe keep an eye on who's playing cards in the farmhouse.